Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you've had a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today involves entertainment news, and in fact, the first story involves something I don't know if we've covered in a really long time. It is good news. So remember that Game Theorists charity stream that I pimped out earlier this week? Well, it happened. You had MatPat and Stephanie hosting a stream to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Running for about 10 hours, there were a ton of different giveaways, challenges, appearances by over 30 different creators, including Mr. Beast, Mark Rober, Markiplier, the Try Guys, Sophia Nygaard, Pokimane, and others. And the goal this year was to raise $1 million, but actually by the time they ended the stream, they amazingly raised over $3 million. And according to MatPat, YouTubers donated around $250,000 themselves to the stream. Though the biggest donation of the stream coming from YouTube itself, with CEO Susan Wojcicki dropping in and dropping a surprise $450,000 donation. But yeah, main thing, a huge congratulations to everyone involved here. Amazing job. And also, if you'd like to donate on top of what's already been earned, I'll link down below. And while this first story was something to put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces, this other news had a lot of fans angry. It has finally happened. One of the biggest podcasts in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience this week, has officially become exclusive to Spotify. And immediately we saw a not so happy reaction. It appears that the YouTube channel Powerful JRE here on YouTube with over 10.2 million subscribers, it appears that that channel has now turned into a glorified archive of some of the past episodes and a current clips channel, with the end of those clips and the description trying to get people to go over and listen to the entire episode on Spotify. And immediately we saw a wave of people saying they're leaving. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. See ya. I'm not downloading Spotify, so I guess no more Joe Rogan. RIP Joe Rogan Experience. Some also leaving negative comments about not liking the Spotify experience. Tried listening on Spotify. I can't handle the 10 straight minutes of ads, and having Joe read them just makes me suddenly able to totally tune out everything he says without even trying to. Sad times for me. Sad to say I'm not switching from YouTube Premium to Spotify Premium for one podcast. With some others also saying Spotify isn't available in their country or that they can't use a VPN. But for those of you out there that are like, yes, now my podcast can fill in that void, who knows if this will truly be detrimental for the future of this podcast? People who are outspoken of their dislike of something online do not always represent the majority or a very, very large group of people. Though, as we've seen with other large creators who sign exclusive deals with, it's usually a situation where it's a much smaller company, viewership can be impacted, but this feels like it might be different because Spotify is not like just this tiny company. They appear to be in part trying to be the future of podcasts. So we'll see. And I mean, as far as Joe Rogan and Spotify, I doubt that they're that concerned here. I personally don't believe that Joe Rogan's gonna lose a huge chunk of his audience, and I'm sure that he's like, that risk is worth the $100+ million that he's gonna be getting from this deal and the future of his show. And as far as Spotify, since the Joe Rogan Experience became a Spotify exclusive, and it also probably is tied in with Spotify Wrap, that yearly thing that they do, Spotify stock actually jumped up around 15 to 16% when the Joe Rogan Experience became exclusive this week. But hey, time will tell, and hey, if you are a fan of JRE, are you following it to Spotify? Yes, no, why not? And then, actually the final bit of entertainment news is the opposite of the Joe Rogan one. That was the taking away of options. You can only watch this here. We got the massive news today that Warner Bros. Will be sending their entire 2021 slate to HBO Max the same day each movie hits theaters. This including Matrix 4, The Suicide Squad, Dune, Space Jam: A New Legacy, and then literally 13 more. Which, I mean, we knew that maybe studios were gonna play around with this idea. We recently reported that on Christmas this year, Wonder Woman 1984, it's gonna be released in theaters and on HBO Max. With this massive move from Warner Bros., it brings the question, one, will we see other studios follow this in some way? And two, can theaters in the United States survive this? So on that note, the chair and CEO of Warner Media Studios and Networks Group did say, no one wants films back on the big screen more than we do. We know new content is the lifeblood of theatrical exhibition, but we have to balance this with the reality that most theaters in the US will likely operate at reduced capacity throughout 2021. With this unique one-year plan, that being some of the key wording here, a unique one-year plan, we can support our partners in exhibition with a steady pipeline of world-class films while also giving moviegoers who may not have access to theaters or aren't quite ready to go back to the movies the chance to see our amazing 2021 films. We see it as a win-win. But, I mean, also let's be honest, if HBO Max has massive success this year with this model, there's no reason to think that it's only a one-year plan. I mean, they as a studio and HBO Max as a pay subscription service, due to the general shittiness of the situation we're in, are getting a free one-year trial period to test to see how many people they can get to pay and subscribe. And personally, as I would say before this year, an avid moviegoer, someone that loves that, but also as someone that loves the idea of allow me to watch what I want, when I want, where I want, I love it. But as far as if this is a one-year deal or it ends up being kind of the future of entertainment, we're gonna have to wait and see. Though, and understand this is just my opinion, I highly doubt this is just a one-year plan. I think it only turns into a one-year plan if it's not as successful as they think it'll be. But from that, let's pay some bills real quick and thank the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, a website, an online store, a whatever, make it with Squarespace. Squarespace empowers people of all kinds to create their online web presence or launch their passion projects, and it's a place that so many people trust and where everyone can find and make a home. It's also easy to see why there is nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. Creating a beautiful website with Squarespace's all-in-one platform has never been so simple. It is extremely intuitive and easy to use. Also, including fantastic things that you usually don't think about until you really need them. Things like gaining access to their award-winning marketing tools and analytics, and you can get personalized support from their award-winning customer care team via email or live chat. Whatever you need, they are available 24/7 to help out. So if you want to check it out, start your free trial today. Head on over to squarespace.com/Phil, and when you realize you love it, make sure you enter an offer code Phil to get 10% off your first purchase. And then let's talk about, I don't even want to refer to it as news about voter fraud because it's not news. It's kind of just a weird, insane mess. And specifically, where I'll start here is with this video from the Michigan House of Representatives hearing on voter fraud that went viral yesterday. That video, which as of recording here has more than 16 million views just on Twitter alone, features a definitely not drunk or on something woman by the name of Melissa Carone, who is an IT contractor for the election technology manufacturer Dominion Voting Systems, who claims to have witnessed poll workers at a voting center in Detroit counting thousands of ballots multiple times. Right, and Carone was tapped by Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, last month to tell her story before the panel, and here is how part of it went.
The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book, why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So my question then is if the...
Guess how many, wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%?
If ballots were counted multiple times, there's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look again. Take a look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too?
So is that?
Let's
I guess,
let
is that
Representative Johnson ask his question, and then when he's done.
I thought that was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question here is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what I
saying
saw.
That they're filling in?
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Okay. Did you?
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep following back up with the poll book. So are we saying that the poll book is either wildly off or that they are filling in names?
It's wildly off, and dead people voted, and illegals voted.
Okay.
So that's my answer.
I think...
You know it's bad when you're on the same side as Rudy Giuliani and he's like, chill out, chill out. But also, there is a lot to unpack and debunk with this one. Okay, so first and foremost, it probably goes without saying that this woman has provided zero evidence for her claims. Right in that hearing, we see her first say that 30,000 votes have been counted multiple times, but then she just randomly changes that number to 100,000. But as Representative Stephen Johnson, who, by the way, is Republican, explained in the video, if her claim was true, there would be a massive discrepancy between the total number of votes and the poll book, which tracks voters and ballot totals, but that was not the case at all. And so then when she's asked why these thousands and thousands of votes that she claimed were counted multiple times were not reflected in the poll book, she appeared to accuse the Republican legislators of engaging in election fraud to help Biden. This before seemingly going on to brag about the fact that she signed an affidavit, so what she's saying must be true. But there are also three things here that make this highly questionable. First of all, it is true that she did sign an affidavit claiming she saw poll workers scanning ballots multiple times, and that very same affidavit was included in a lawsuit filed by the Trump campaign. But that case was literally struck down by a judge who ruled that the testimonies from Carone and other witnesses were incorrect and not credible. So when your star witness gets described in that way, probably not great for your argument. Secondly, she didn't provide a specific number of votes that she claims she saw double counted in that legal document. And very notably, during that hearing, despite objections from the panel's Democrats, she was not under oath, meaning she couldn't be charged for lying at this hearing. So, and we're really only touching this because she was using it as part of her argument, because those specific numbers weren't in her affidavit, she could technically make up these figures completely before the panel without breaking any rules. Which brings us to the third point. This woman has repeatedly pushed a number of bizarre claims in the last month. Right, in her affidavit, she also suggested that ballots had been smuggled in vans sent to give food to poll workers. But when asked by Lou Dobbs what evidence she had of this, she said,
"The city provides the workers with food for their shift. Well, they only had enough food for 1/3 of their workers.
Oh boy.
So that is the reason why they were claiming that these vans were brought in. But these vans did not have food taken out of them.
And the vans that showed up, they were supposed to be filled with food. What did they have in them? Do you know?
I never saw anything being brought out of the vans. I know that whatever was being brought out of the vans was being brought out of the back of the vans, but I was not allowed over in that area at all. But the vans were definitely not big enough to be carrying enough food for 2/3 of those workers.
Right, so she says that there was no food taken out of the vans, but then she says she didn't see what was in the vans. So if you didn't see what was in the vans, how do you know it wasn't food? And even more importantly, why would you assume it was a legal ballot? That is such a huge jump, and literally her only, and I hate even associating this word with this person, evidence is one, that van showed up and she felt that they were too small to be carrying the amount of food that she also claimed wasn't even delivered, but somehow they were just the right size for tens of thousands of ballots. And two, she says in her affidavit, 2 hours after those vans left, Michigan discovered another 100,000 ballots. But that claim that 100,000 ballots magically appeared has been totally debunked as misinformation stemming from a typo published by a county that the center she was at wasn't even in, right? And I bring all of that up for 2 reasons. One, it helps us understand why a judge would say that a group of witnesses are incorrect and not credible. And 2, it does not reflect well on the strength of your argument if that is your star witness. But, I mean, we're at this point where we kind of just expect this. I mean, in addition to this, just yesterday we saw Trump again basically spewing lies for 40 minutes, which I'm not even gonna show those clips. I don't wanna give those lies more airtime. And at the same time, we also had Roger Stone, who, of course, was sentenced to 40 months in prison for lying to the Mueller investigation before being pardoned by Trump, claiming that North Korean boats were shipping in ballots. Meanwhile, you also have pro-Trump lawyers Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood literally telling people in Georgia not to vote in the runoff, which will actually decide which party controls the Senate. Though we have also seen a number of Republicans pushing back against this sentiment, essentially saying, what the hell are you talking about? But, I mean, that's also part of the issue you have for Republicans, a number staying silent, some backing up Trump, and then, even though a majority of them have to know that it is just completely not true, then trying to tell those same people that, hey, the election was stolen, telling them to vote in another election. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna end this ridiculousness today, though there's going to be no shortage of this in the news, unfortunately. And then finally, let's talk about the coronavirus, because the United States has hit some pretty devastating numbers, and the situation is really just getting worse. Like we've talked about, vaccine on the horizon, but we still have to get from point A to point B. Right, and so the situation right now is that yesterday, for the first time in the United States, COVID-19 hospitalizations reached over 100,000, which is an 11% increase from last week and a 26% increase from the past 2. And on top of this, the hospitalization caseloads in 38 states are becoming unstable. And at the same time, in the states yesterday, we hit a new single-day record with 2,800 deaths. With some experts predicting that in the current shape we are in, the daily death count could regularly pass 2,000, 3,000, or even approach 4,000. And so with 274,000 lives now lost from COVID-19 just here in the United States, we have health officials trying to sound the alarm even more. I mean, they have been. Let's not act like this is a new thing, but I mean, that's why multiple outlets yesterday shared a report from the White House Coronavirus Task Force that was sent to states saying the COVID risk to all Americans is at a historic high and that we are in a very dangerous place due to the current extremely high COVID baseline and the limited hospital capacity. With the report including several warnings like, if state and local policies do not reflect the seriousness of the current situation, all public health officials must alert the state population directly. Also telling people over the age of 65 to not enter any indoor space with unmasked people, and saying that people under 40 who traveled for the holiday must assume that they have become infected and isolate, since even though they may not have symptoms themselves, they could be dangerous to others. But also with this, of course, you have people pointing to the future solution to this problem, which is the vaccine, which it does appear is really just around the corner, right? Yesterday, the United Kingdom approved Pfizer's vaccine and will begin distributing it and vaccinating healthcare workers and vulnerable populations next week. And here in the United States, both Pfizer and Moderna have submitted to the FDA for approval, and if all goes well, they are expected to get greenlit within the next couple of weeks. But again, let's say it happened tomorrow. Not saying that, but let's say it happened tomorrow. It's not done then. It's going to take a while for the vaccine to be distributed and for everyone that wants it to get it. And with that, right now it is expected that healthcare workers and those in long-term care facilities will get priority before it rolls out to the general public, which could take months. And secondly, there is an understandable concern that not enough people are going to get the vaccine. And it's not just anti-vaxxers in general, right? A Gallup poll from mid-November that asked participants if an FDA-approved vaccine was available to them at no cost right now, would they take it? And they found that 58% would, but 42% would not. And looking further into why people were saying they would turn down the vaccine, there we found 37% of those who said no said they felt that the vaccine timeline and development was rushed. Another 26% saying they just wanted to wait to confirm that it was safe. And you also had 10% saying they wanted to wait to see how effective it was. Right? And so all that is in addition to the 12% who just said they do not trust vaccines in general. Also, on top of all that, today you had IBM saying that there have been cyber attacks aimed at companies and government organizations that will be distributing vaccines. But they currently believe that these hackers were working to get information on how the vaccine is stored, kept cold, and delivered. So with that, you have the Department of Homeland Security working on this, alerting companies of what to look out for, but obviously none of this seems to help. It also appears to be why leaders are really focusing on messaging that will limit vaccine hesitancy. And actually, one of the interesting things that we saw about this came from Dr. Fauci, who we saw critique the quick pace the UK approved Pfizer's vaccine, with his concerns tying back to the Gallup poll and why people say they don't want the vaccine right now.
If you go quickly and you do it superficially, people are not going to want to get vaccinated. We have the gold standard of a regulatory approach with the FDA. The UK did not do it as carefully.
Also, with this push to stop messaging that might be dangerous regarding the vaccine, Facebook has pledged to remove COVID-19 vaccine misinformation on its platform, saying this could include false claims about the safety, efficacy, ingredients, or side effects of the vaccines, as well as conspiracy theories. Additionally, we're seeing leaders amping up efforts to get people to take the vaccine, encouraging Americans that it is safe and effective, including 3 former presidents saying that they will take it, starting with Barack Obama, who said during an interview on the Joe Madison show that if Dr. Fauci trusts it, so does he.
And I promise you that when it's then made for people who are less at risk, I will be taking it, and you know, I may end up taking it on TV or having it filmed just so that people know that I trust this science.
Personally, that is also where I land. If the experts, including Dr. Fauci, say that it is safe, I'm taking it. I want to get back to normal. I can't believe I'm saying this as pretty much a lifelong introvert, but I want to see people again. Especially as someone that's higher risk, I don't want to see everyone in every interaction as a potential threat. But also, of course, I say that as me. I'm making a personal choice, and with this, of course, then I want to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts regarding this vaccine? Here in the States, let's say that the vaccine is approved by the FDA. It is distributed. Fauci and others are saying, yes, do it. Are you getting the vaccine? Yes, no, why not? That is where I'm going to end today's show. As always, thank you for being a part of my daily dives in the news. Also, if you happen to be new here, hit that subscribe button, tap that bell for all notifications. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you next time.